Welcome to River Lake Church. My name is Nick. I'm the pastor here. We are so glad you're here this morning. This weekend, on Monday specifically, we celebrate Martin Luther King Day. And I appreciate all that he did. And I want to take a second to pray together because he started something, or really he championed something that the church should have been championing for years and didn't. He modeled for us, I believe, what it says in Revelations, where it says that every tribe, every tongue, and every nation will come together and worship God as one. And he modeled that and championed that. And so really, I want to pray with you, if you would pray with me, that we would continue to further that relationship, those things that he felt so near and dear to him that really should be at the core, at the heart of the local church. So would you pray with me? Heavenly Father, thank you so much for Dr. Martin Luther King, for his vision, for his dream, for what he did, for what he continues to do for this country long after his death. I pray that we would, as a church, champion that dream, that we would continue to pursue that heaven on earth mentality, that idea that we are one tribe, that we are one nation, that we are one people. Lord, help us be who you've called us to be. We love you. We thank you so much. And I pray that in the next few minutes that you would move us to be more and more who you've called us to be. We love you. Thank you. Amen. All right. Today, I want to talk about Swiss Army knives. I love these things. We are in the middle of a series called Brand New, and we started it last week. And what we talked about was this, that every single person has a capacity, and it's limited by your conditions, that wherever you're at, if you're stressed out, if your capacity is full, that all you need to do is change your conditions, and it will expand or decrease, depending on what you want, your capacity. And if you miss it, we've got it all online. You can watch those, and that would be great. But today, I want to talk about Swiss Army knives. How many of you, growing up, you had a Swiss Army knife? Great, yeah, so all the Christian people. That's awesome, cool. Just kidding. No, I never had one of these. My brothers had one of these, and I thought it was so cool because when he had it, like 2 days into it, my parents' worst nightmare happened. He cut the front of his finger off. He was whittling. That's a country thing to do, isn't it? I don't even know what he was doing. I think he just wanted to cut it, and just right off the tip of it. It was great. I loved it. I laughed. He did not. My mom did not. I got spanked. So anyway, it's just kind of how it works out. But I love Swiss Army knives because if you've ever used one, if you don't know what they are incredible little devices that really you can do so many different things with them. And they got knives and stuff like that. This one right here we've got up on stage here, this was one of the largest ones that I could find. And it has like 67 different things in it. It can do the normal things like a knife and scissors. It's got things that you would think through like a screwdriver, maybe an Allen wrench, but it also has an altimeter. If you don't know what an altimeter is, that I didn't either. I had to look that up. That's just to let you know what the altitude is if you're just curious. So if you're sitting back going, I feel a little high today. I am. Okay, cool. I don't know. It wasn't that high. Okay, so anyway, just get your mind out of the gutter. But it's got a barometer, so you can check the barometer. It's got an alarm clock. It's got an LED light. It actually has a pharmaceutical, no joke, this is how it worded, a pharmaceutical scoop. How is that different than a spoon? I don't know. I'm not quite sure, but it's got one of those. It has everything that you think in this one little device, okay? And it's not quite what this one is, but in this one little device, these things are designed to be the one-stop shop. That you can take this, you can kind of put it in your pocket, kind of tuck it away. If you're cool, you hook it or whatever you got to do with that. And no matter what situation you run into, no matter what problem you struggle with, no matter what is in front of you in the challenge, pull out my handy-dandy Swiss Army knife. That looked threatening, didn't it? That's not the point. We'll pull out the screwdriver part. There we go. I am ready to go. Because of this one-stop shop, this one thing fits all, I can do whatever is in front of me. These are incredible, incredible things. But here's what I know about these things. Listen. If you really want to cut something, this is okay. But this is a knife. This sole purpose is to cut the flesh off dead carcass. This is my deer hunting knife. I love this thing. It's great. It will not tell you the altitude. It will not tell you your barometer. It has no LED light. It has no alarm clock. It has no barometer on it. Its sole purpose is to cut things. And if you want to compare the two, no offense to this wonderful Swiss Army knife that somebody loaned me, there's no comparison. This will do much, much more, but this will do one thing incredibly, incredibly well. Same thing with this. It's a screwdriver, very simple screwdriver, but it is ergonomically designed. I think I used that word correctly. It is ergonomically designed to fit in my hand. Its tip is perfectly designed to fit in the Phillips head screwdriver. It will unscrew and screw things beautifully. Whereas this thing, again, it has a screwdriver on it. It will work somewhat, but a little bit clumsily. It'll kind of do the job, but again, if you're trying to do a lot, I mean, this will work in a pinch, but if you really are trying to work on something, nobody says, yeah, you got to kind of screw some stuff in there. Yeah, here, I got a Swiss Army knife. No, you go get a screwdriver. Why? Because this, if you got one thing to do, this does way, way better. This is way more specific in what it's called to do than this is. And there's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with this. But here's where we're going to go today. Different. Today, I want to look at a passage. If you got your Bible, I want to encourage you to open up Acts chapter 2, and we're going to hit in 2 and 20 and then bounce around all of it. If you don't have a Bible, we're going to put it on the screen. But what I want to talk about is this. I believe that the church too often is viewed as this, and more specifically than the church Sunday morning. That somewhere down the road, we want Sunday morning to be the Swiss Army knife of everything that we struggle with, everything that we need, everything that we desire in the world. That if we can just here's what people say, we can just find the right church for Sunday morning. It will be everything that I need, that it will be my Swiss Army knife, and no matter what I need, I'm just going to put it in my pocket. I'm going to go that 1 hour a week. I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to pack it away. And whatever I struggle with, whatever I deal with, whatever challenge I have in front of me, I have my Sunday morning service. I'm just going to pull it out. I'm going to deal with whatever is in front of me. I've got my Sunday morning service. And the reality is this. This is where we're going to go today. The Sunday morning service, it was never, ever designed to be a Swiss Army knife. That church is much, much bigger than a Sunday morning. So it's much, much bigger than a 1 hour service. It's much, much bigger than what we would call church services and church in general. That there's something much more. And in fact, what we're going to discover today, and what I hope you discover today, is that church originally had multiple components to it. And that we have as a society, especially in America, we've kind of forgotten those components, and in turn, we have limited our capacity. What we talked about last week, we have a condition that says, listen, I got an hour a week and I'm going to spend it with God. I got an hour a week, I got a group of people, I'm going to spend it with God. We have limited, because of our conditions, our capacity with what we could accomplish and what we could do and where we were called to go this year in 2017. So we're going to pick it up. Story. First church. This is how it all started. Book of Acts, the author is writing this. Here's what he says about the first church. It says, every day they continue to meet together in the temple courts. Now, temple courts, here's the deal. They met in temple courts. They met in rows, much like we meet today. Came together, they had rows, they come together. There's a teacher, whether it was one of the apostles, Peter, James, John. They kind of come together, had rows, much like today. People show up, they kind of sit in rows. They kind of face one day, there's a main teacher, the whole deal, and they kind of learn and experience it, and they met us sing Kumbaya. I don't know what they sang back then, but they kind of sang songs, kind of dispersed. They met in a temple every day. You think 1 day a week, every day. You get it lucky. Anyway, they broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere heart. Circles. They met together in rows in temples every day, but they met together in homes, circles. The very first church, don't miss this is so important, because again, I hear people talk every now and then, and they're kind of like, Nick, we just need to go back to like the how it originally started. We just need to go back to like the first church, like where it started, like just the original. Cool. You need to understand when you say that, if you ever say that. They met every day. So how's your schedule? And they met in rows and in circles. The very first church, that's how they did it. Every day, rows, every day, circles. And I don't think everybody did everything every single day, but it was not a 1 hour a week on Sunday morning for 55 minutes, and you went and you just sat in rows. And if you think that was unique, like, okay, hey, they just kind of did that. It wasn't unique. It wasn't unique because the church had grown. In fact, if you read the story, background, and I kind of skipped a little bit, day one of the church was a mega church. Again, I hear people every now and then talk about like, oh, church is too big, and there's not enough people. I don't know everybody. Which I was kind of laughing. I'm thinking, I missed that verse where it's like, you should go to a church where you know everybody. That wasn't the original church. Day one, day of Pentecost, 3,000 people, and they grew every single day. So very quickly, they were 5,000, 6,000 people. Very first church, mega church. So what they do? Rows, teaching. Circles for other things. And it didn't change when they went to different places. Acts 20:20, we're going to put it up on the screen for you. It says this, Paul's talking about this. He says, you know that I have not hesitated to preach anything that would be helpful to you, but have taught you publicly, rows, and from house to house, circles. And today, what I want to talk about is this, and this is not deep. No one's going to write this down. This is like the most obvious statement in the world, and yet I think we've missed it in the church. We've kind of messed this up. We've kind of had blinders on maybe a little bit. I know I have for years. That what I want you to walk out understanding is this, that circles are different than rows. To which nobody went, whoa, that's deep. Man, let me write that. I mean, nobody did that. Circles are different than rows. But the problem is this. We have for too long used the church the Sunday morning, the rows. And we have wanted everything that circles provide out of rows, and it just doesn't work like that. We have wanted everything that you could think of. We've described it, we've designed it. We said, listen, I don't want to do circles. Maybe I didn't even know about circles. Maybe you're new to church and it's not even in there. But I just want everything out of it, and it just doesn't work like that. That the original church service was not a Swiss Army knife. It was not something that they just kind of went to 1 hour a week, put it in their pocket, and said, you know what? Every situation that comes up, I'll be good. Why? I've got my Swiss Army church service in my pocket. I'm good. It just doesn't work like that. And let me tell you the danger. Let me tell you why we're talking about this today. I find this so fascinating, and it breaks my heart for people all the time. That in the local church, here's what happens. People show up to church, and especially in a church that's growing, and ours has been growing since we started, and it's not quite the size, and they expect circle relationships. They expect circle treatment out of row mentalities, row relationship. And what's going to happen is something bad happens. There's somebody passes away in their family. They get sick. They miss church for a few weeks. There's something going on in their family. They lose their job. I don't know. And then they post some weird vague Facebook post. I mean, you know those things like pray for me. God knows the reason. I mean, and that's cool if you do that. I'm not trying to say anything negative about that. But they're kind of really ambiguous. And they kind of duck out of church, or they kind of got a funeral they got to go to, or whatever. And the church does not respond the way they want them to. Church doesn't bring meals like they want them to. The church doesn't visit them in the hospital like they want them to. The church doesn't step up like they want them to. And it's not because the church is fault. They think it is. But they came to a service and they came to rows. And rows aren't made for that. Rows are made for one specific purpose. It's for teaching, it's inspiring. It's for motivating. It's for coaching. It's not made for relationships. As a matter of fact, just real quickly, and don't do this publicly, really, but just if you were to pause and look around all the people that you're sitting next to, how well do you know them? I mean, honestly. I mean, unless you came with them, the people in your rows, do they really know what's going on in your world? Do they really know you? They probably know about you. Do they really know you? Probably not. Because circles are different than rows. And today, I just all cards on the table up front. Here's my goal today, is to motivate you to do both. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad that you come and you do that whole deal. And really, again, we really aspire to inspire. Everybody shows up every single Sunday. That's our goal on Sunday mornings, to just inspire people, to motivate people, to coach people, to really trying to do that, be very practical and helpful. And today, hopefully, this is. But at the end of the day, my hope, my prayer is as you leave today, that you would be motivated, that you would be inspired to sign up for one of our small groups, to understand that you can never benefit and you'll never fully get what God has for you in 2017 if you don't embrace the totality of the church. If you still have a Swiss Army church mentality, that you will never accomplish what God has for you to accomplish. And today, for the rest of our time, I want to break it down as practically as I can into three things that you can't get from a Sunday morning service. Number one is this. Your row doesn't know you, but your circle does. We just kind of covered that a little bit, right? But your row doesn't know who you are. Your row doesn't know the depths of what you're walking through, do they? I mean, this is a whole thing. Like we put on, and again, we aspire to just really be the most relevant, simple, and real church. And I try to be very transparent and real, and I talk about my failures and my struggles and everything like that. But come on. We still put on a good face, right? I mean, how many times, and maybe not lately, but how many times have you been coming to church, and maybe not here because Church is great, but like other churches, and you were angry at your spouse, or you were angry at your kids, and you did that whole like arm thing where you broke your arm, and it hurts you worse than them, but you'll never let them know that because like you want to, whole deal. And you're frustrated, and your spouse, girlfriend's mascara is kind of all messed up, and you're in the parking lot, and you're like, okay, let's just get it together and just go. How many of you ever done that? Liars. Okay, I don't care. Because I've done that. My parents, I saw that. My knee got whacked multiple times. But we do that. Or maybe it's not, maybe you're not fighting with your spouse or whatever, but you come in and all you can think about, you were up late last night because there's something wrong with your job, there's something wrong with your stuff going on. There's something wrong with your marriage, there's something wrong with your finances or whatever, and that's all you can think of. And you're stressing out and you're coming here and you're hoping, you're praying that something's going to happen, inspire, motivate you and change you and help you, whatever. And you're struggling inside, but what do? You walk in. And we have great people that park you out there and, kind of welcome you if you're a guest, especially. Hopefully that's your deal. If you're a guest, welcome. We're so glad you're here today. What do? Hey, how you doing? Fine. I'm great. Me and my friends, Jack Daniels, Jose Cuervo, we're doing awesome. It's great. Yeah, I'm doing really, really great right now. I'm great. Yay. They don't know you. Rows are not meant to get to know you. Rows have a very specific purpose. They're meant to do one very specific thing. But you were made to be known. You were made to connect with other people. You were made to live in community with other people. And that's what our small groups are. If maybe you're here and you're like, yeah, I don't know what a small group is, let me tell you exactly what we're asking you to sign up for. To be in community with a group of people, 10 to 15 people maybe, depending on how big it is. And all you're doing is living life with them. Teaching secondary. There will be teaching. We have classes, and we have classes for everybody. Single people, married people, people with kids, people without kids. We have just for women, just for men, whole deal. We've got everything that you could possibly think of with that goes on there. But at the end of the day, the point is we were made to live in community with each other. And it's amazing. It's powerful. What happens when you can find a small group of people and you just kind of look at them all and you're committed. I'm going to live life with them. We're going to pray together. I'm going to let them know who I am. I'm going to let them see me. I'm going to feel accepted. I'm going to feel embraced. And I'm going to just be known. And it's the start. It's the start of a movement in our lives in so many different ways. And for those of us who are not in small groups, listen, I'm just telling you, you may not feel you're lacking anything. You are. I find it so fascinating that Jesus is God, right? I mean, that's what we believe, okay? If you're new here, we believe Jesus is God. As he starts his ministry, he does something incredible. Up to this moment, he has rows. He is teaching people. He has rows of people. Thousands of people sometimes come up to him and listen to him teaching. That's what he has. And at this point, he has at least 70 disciples, probably more than that, maybe over 100 disciples, whatever people that would say this. And here's what it says. Okay, we're going to pick it up. It says in Luke 6, when morning came, Jesus called his disciples to him and chose 12 of them, whom he also designated apostles. So he's got rows, and says if he walked out and he prayed all night and he said, listen, I'll take you, and no, don't even think about it, not you, and get away from me, never, and you, he just picked tall guy in the back, red-headed guy, come here, he picked 12 people to be in a circle. Jesus, God, started off his ministry, started off a movement and said, listen, I'm not going to do it alone. I'm going to bring some men around me, and I'm going to start a movement, but it's going to be in relationship with other people. Because rows are different than circles. And rows have different outcomes than circles. And it's not good or bad, but you can't get everything from one. And the trouble happens in our lives when we start to look at one and say, listen, I want to get everything. I'm going to get my Swiss Army church going on Sunday mornings, and I'm good. Just telling you, you were made to be known. You were made to live in community with other people. You were made to have people walk and live life with you. Which leads me to my next point, which will happen. It's this. Your row doesn't know your pain, but your circle does. Your row doesn't know what you're walking through. Unless it's your spouse or somebody, but the rest of people around you, they don't know what you're walking through. They don't know your deep, dark secrets. They don't know your struggles. They don't know what's happening. But let me just promise you, when, not if, when something bad happens to you, It will be your circles that will walk with you, that will pray with you, that will be at the hospital, that will fix you meals, that will do all the things. It will be your circles, not your rows, that will show up and be who you need them to be. It will not be your rows. That's just the way it's designed. It's just not. But again, we in our church world, we have this expectation, don't we? Like I'm walking through something, I haven't been in church in 3 weeks and no one's even noticed. Are you in a group? No. How many people in your service? 180? Okay. Rows are different than circles. And again, if you want to go back to the first church, well, that's not the way it used to be. No, just the very first church. I'm going to point out two things, and we're not even going to put them up here. You're just going to fly right over them, but just really quickly, we can pull out of it. One is this. Peter, leader of the church, head pastor, whole deal. They came to him and said, listen, our widows are not being fed. That's a good thing to do, right? Can we all agree? Feeding widows, good thing, nothing wrong with it. Great thing even probably. Great thing. What's Peter say? Peter doesn't go, oh, I'm so sorry, let me do that, and whole deal. He says, listen, I got a capacity. Listen, you've got to change your condition. I've got a capacity. You've got to change your condition. So what's he do? He says, listen, it would be wrong for me to feed widows. It would not be right. That's what he says. I would be sinning. I would be wrong if I fed. Listen, my job, I have one job, is to serve the rows. I'm not going to feed the widows. Again, in church world, I swear, if there was a pastor that stood up and said, listen, I'm not feeding any widows, he'd be run out of town, right? They'd be like, oh, well, you're not going to serve here anymore either. Okay, goodbye. Yeah, I mean, just because we've got really messed up things. So what's Peter do? Peter says, listen, you need to find some men. They're going to kind of do something. You got to create some circles around some people. Later on, hospital visits. Here's the deal. I'm just giving you a picture of what it was. I'm not saying it's ideal. I'm just saying this is reality. Hospital visits, oh, is the pastor going to visit me and the whole deal? And I do hospital visits, okay? I'm not trying to say I don't do those. But just your expectation of rows versus circles. I love the passage. And again, we probably read it maybe many times and just kind of glanced right over it. But there's a verse that says they lined up the sick in the road so that Peter's shadow would touch them and heal them. He didn't do hospital visits. I mean, I can just imagine. They're sitting around and going, yeah, Billy's sick. Well, what are we going to do? You're going to call Peter? Peter's not coming. But I know Peter goes to lunch at that barbecue restaurant every single day. So listen, if we could just kind of grab Billy and put him and just line him right up with the sun, and so that when Peter walks by, his shadow, I think we can get him healed. Circles are different than rows. And again, I've seen people walk away from the church, hurt, seriously hurt, upset, frustrated, because they didn't meet their needs. Because they really believe that Sunday morning, that 1 hour, the church was designed to meet every single one of their needs. Motivationally, teaching, relationally, spiritually, community. And it's just not that way. Your row doesn't know your pain. But if you're in a circle, if you're spending time every week with a group of people and you're walking through it, they do. They'll be the ones that'll walk. They'll be the ones that notice when you're not here. They'll be the one. That's the way it was designed to be from the beginning, and it's designed to be now. It's both and, not either or. And I think the church has missed this for so long, and it's caused frustration, it's caused pain, and it's caused us to limit our capacity and impact in the world that we live in today. So if we're going to change that, we've got to change some conditions about, I got time for 1 hour, I got 55 minutes a week, I'm going to go to that church, I got 55 minutes to go. Listen, if you want 2017 to be the best year you've ever had, you're going to have to change the condition and start to expand what God's called you to do and join a group. Number 3 is this. Your row won't stop your drift, but your circle will. Do you realize that everything that's good in your life, you do not naturally drift towards? I mean, not like I do not, and maybe you're better than me, I do not naturally get up and think, broccoli. That'd be great. Yes, no. I naturally get up and think, cake. Cake, pancake has the word cake in it, and it has eggs, and it has sugar, and cake. I'm going to eat cake for breakfast. That's great. Cake, I think cake. I don't naturally drift towards that. I don't naturally drift towards, I'm waking up. I would love to run so hard and fast that I'm exhausted for the rest of the day. That would be amazing for me. I don't think that way. I get up and think, I would rather read the paper. That'd be great. We'll skip the gym. Everything that's good in my life, I don't naturally get up and think, who do I need to apologize to? I bet I was mean to somebody yesterday. And I get up thinking, I know some people owe me an apology. I think that way all the time, okay? Just don't laugh at me. You do the same thing, all right? But no, really, think about it for a second. Everything that you drift for, everything that you just, listen, if it's uninterrupted, if it's unimpeded, if it's just interrupted in this process, everything that you naturally drift toward is not good for you. It's unhealthy. And Rose, let me just tell you what we aspire to do on Sunday mornings. It's my prayer every single week. My prayer every single week is that I would say something, or whoever's up here would say something that would inspire, motivate, teach, coach, and empower you to go do what God's called you to do. That is our goal. That is our prayer. If you've ever gotten a postcard from us, it reads the same postcard because it's my hope, my prayer, but it says our prayer is that something was either said or done to inspire you. We believe that because here's what I know. Many of you, probably most of you, if not all of you, you are way educated beyond your capacity to obey. Like you've never got to the point of going, listen, I'm perfect of everything that I know I need to be doing, and if the pastor could just tell me something else that I'm doing wrong, then I'll get on that too. Like that's not ever happened. The reality is you're overeducated beyond your capacity. So Sunday mornings, we have a teaching component. We're walking through something. We use scripture. Again, but at the end of the day, my hope, my desire is to inspire you to do what you already know you need to do. But here's the problem. Here's the deal. If all you have is Sunday morning, let me just maybe predict part of your struggle right now. If you come here, Sunday morning happens, you are, if we do it right, inspired. And you are inspired. You are motivated. And Sunday, you're like, yeah, I'm going to go on the diet or stop that or break up with her or him, or I'm going to apologize. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get better. I'm inspired. Monday happens, and you're inspired. And Tuesday happens, and you're kind of motivated. And Wednesday, and Thursday, and Friday, and Saturday, and that thing that you were so motivated on, the thing that you were never going to do and always go and start the discipline and get up early and kind of do the whole deal, that thing, Saturday, you just don't really have the motivation anymore. And then Sunday, that's how we work. We've moved on. We've hit a different topic. We're on to something else. And hopefully you're inspired again. We just move on. Because you will naturally drift towards the things that are unhealthy in your life. That's just the way that it is. But in rows are not designed to prevent the drift. Circles are designed to prevent the drift. Circles are designed to provide accountability, to provide some relationship, some context to sit back and go, hey, how you doing? And I've been praying about it. And you talked about how, the pastor talked about it, and you were motivated and you were excited to do that. And I've been praying for you, and how's that going and whatever. Oh, it's not going really good. All right, I'm praying. Let's get back on the horse. We talked about this last week. Falling's not failing. We talked about that. The circles are designed to make sure that you are becoming who God's called you to be, not from a motivational standpoint, but from an accountability standpoint. Ecclesiastes talks about this. Solomon, smartest guy ever lived. He says this. He says, though one may be overpowered, meaning you get out, you're motivated, one rose, two can defend themselves. And a cord of three strands is not quickly broken. He says, circles. You get people together. You get people together on the same boat, in the same motivation, the same thing. All of a sudden, it becomes incredibly, incredibly tough to break that. And you will not unite in a cord of three on rows. I mean, you're not going to sit there and be like, hey, stranger, how you doing? Would you pray with me? Let's just do this right now. And every week, would you hold me accountable? You're not going to do that. It's not how you're made. It's not how I'm made. No, it's through relationship. It's through trust. It's through living life with other people that you slowly start to open up and engage and walk with them. That's what happens. Circles. Circles are different than rows. And you'll never be who God's called you to be out of the context of circles. You'll never be who God calls you to be out of the context of rows. But I can promise you this. Sunday mornings, it's not a Swiss Army knife. It's something much, much greater and more specific. And if you leverage it, if you can leverage both tools that God's presented us, you will go further and faster, and this year will be like no other year you've ever experienced. Now, as we wrap up, I want to tell you the big pushback that I get from people, and I get it a lot, is when I talk about groups, because I think groups really do impact. I think that's where life change happens. That's where accountability happens. That's where community happens. That's where growth happens. I mean, I love groups. the pushback I get is, Nick, I was in a small group one time, and it was horrendous. There was one guy, he was all like curmudgeon-y and stuff, and he was cranky, and there was another person, they talked too much, and he never shut up, and, you know, it was just a bad group, okay? I tried groups. I'm not a groups person. Cool. Real quick, if that's you, you're like, I'm not a groups person. I tried it. Have you ever had a bad haircut? Ever? And at the end of it, when you look in the mirror going, you know, did you think to yourself, well, I'm done with haircuts. I'm done. I had a bad haircut. That was a terrible haircut. I look like an idiot, you know, and then your spouse is like, no, you look normal. You're like, oh, darn it, I look like this normally. Anyway, so, just kidding. No. You might have switched who cuts your hair, but you kept getting a haircut. Same thing's true about a bad meal. You've had a bad meal, right? You went to a restaurant, it's bad. Like there was a hair in it, and it was like 17 times longer than your hair, and you're going, this is not mine. I don't know how, like you could tape mine together. It's still not going to be that long. You know, you got sick afterward, or it just tasted, the service was bad. Listen, you might switch the restaurant. You're not going to walk out and be like, I'm done eating. Okay, that was ridiculous. I'm done. I'm going on the best diet in the world. I had a bad meal. I'm done. No, you don't. You just switch. You switch where you go to eat, but you don't not eat. Or maybe let me go a little bit deeper, a little bit more purposeful. How many of you went on a bad date? And don't raise your hand if you're sitting next to the person you went on a bad date, and that'd be awkward. Okay, don't do that. But you got done with the date, and you're like, psycho. You know what I mean? You're just like done. You're like, oh, that was weird. They're like texting you how to go, and you're like, I don't even want to talk about it. Like, you know, she brought her cat photos. It was weird, you know? Just, you know. You've been on bad dates, though, right? Anybody get done with a bad date and be like, I'm done. I'm not getting married. I tried it once. Dating's not for me. I'm done. No, you want to get married, for most of us. So what do? You keep going on dates, and you keep having bad dates, and you keep dating psychos and weirdos and cat people and dog people and the whole deal and people that eat vegetables. I don't understand that at all. That's ridiculous, you know. And you keep doing, just kidding, that was from last week. But you keep doing that kind of stuff until you find the right one. Why? Because you want to be married because you know there's something about being married that completes you. There's something about being married that you were designed for, you were made for, and you will go further and faster. You will find completeness. You will find health, spiritually, emotionally, physically, relationally, in the context of marriage, if it's done right. And so what do? You don't quit dating people. You just keep trying to find the right thing. I get it. Maybe you've had a bad experience in the church and you had a bad small group. I get it. Cool. So have I. You know the crazy part? The worst small group that I've ever been a part of, I was the leader. Yeah. Like, it's terrible. Danielle was in that group. I don't think we were friends for 6 months. I'm not sure. It was terrible. Like, I'd get up in the morning and be like, I don't even want to come to my group. This is terrible. Like, I just, you know, I get it. It's a bad group. It happens. But I know in my heart, you were made for more. You were destined to accomplish great things in 2017. And you will struggle to do that outside the context of both rows, circles. As long as you treat the church as a Swiss Army knife, as long as you treat Sunday mornings as just, hey, I'm going to go, and I got my little church in, I'm going to put it in my pocket, and I can handle whatever comes my way. I promise you, not if, when something happens, you will not be equipped to deal with it like you would be if you were living in community with a small group of people to help you. So today, very practical next step. You're going to get an email. It's going to be on Facebook, whatever. If you don't get our emails, you can grab somebody afterward. You can grab me afterward and, whole deal. But it'll be on Facebook, too. You can like our page, River Lake Church. You can sign up for groups. We have 5. I'm leading one. It will be better than my last one. I realize right now that I just said I was terrible. I'm a better leader now, so trust me. It'll be okay. But I'm leading a group of guys Saturday mornings, 8 o'clock. I'm talking about fight. Because I believe that men were designed to fight and fight for the things that are most important. So we're going to spend some time talking about that. I'm excited about it. I know I need that. So we got some groups. I want to encourage you today. Take a step. Not because you want to. Because for some of you don't want to. You're like, I don't like it. This is not a deep-seated desire to sit around and go, I just want more people in my life. No. It's because you need to. It's because you were made to. It's because you have a goal at the end of your life, at the end of 2017, to be better than who you currently are. And you will not get there because there are things that are naturally lacking in your life outside of groups. Because Sunday morning is not made to be the end-all, be-all Swiss Army Church. Would you stand with me? I'm going to pray for you. We'll get you out of here. Heavenly Father, thank you so much that you gave us more than just an hour, that you gave us community, that you gave us a sense of belonging, that you gave us a place to live life with people, that it's in your design that we are called to do this. I pray that you would help us be bold today, to take a step, to sign up for a group, to really take a journey that maybe we've never been on, that's a little scary, that maybe we've tried before and it didn't go so well. Help us. Help us live in community with each other, not just to know more about you, but to live like you. We love you, Jesus. We thank you so much. Amen. God bless. We'll see you next Sunday.